You know that moment when you're in a meeting, you have something to say, and you almost speak, but then you don't. And somehow, the moment just passes.
Hmm, yeah, that one feels really familiar.
Hey, this is Time's Ethan and Claire, the Canadian Workplace Guide. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Claire.
And today, we're talking about that quiet moment, the one where you hold back. If you're new to Canada, take a breath. You're not alone in this. This is something we hear times all the time, not just from newcomers, but even from people who've been here for years.
Yeah, it's not always about language, right?
Exactly. Sometimes your English is fine. You understand everything. You even know what you times want, times to say. But something still stops you.
Like a hesitation?
Yeah, a hesitation, or a second guessing, or even a quiet fear that maybe what you're about to say isn't quite right.
Yeah, that can feel heavy over time.
It really can. And today, we're going to gently walk through that moment, why it happens, what it can cost you, and how to move through it in a way that still feels natural. So let's talk about a real situation. There's someone, we'll call him Daniel. He's been working in a small marketing team in Toronto for about 4 months. Smart guy, thoughtful, really observant.
Okay.
And in meetings, he listens carefully. He actually notices things that others miss, gaps in plans, small risks, sometimes even better ideas. But here's the thing, he almost never speaks.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and it's not because he doesn't care. It's the opposite. He cares times so much times that he wants to say things the right way.
So he's holding himself to a high standard.
Exactly. So one day, his team is discussing a campaign, and Daniel notices something. The timeline doesn't make sense. There's a dependency that hasn't been considered. He knows times if they don't adjust now, it could cause problems later.
That sounds important.
It is, and he feels it. He even leans forward a bit, opens his mouth slightly.
And then?
And then someone else starts talking. The conversation moves, the moment passes, and Daniel just sits back.
Oof. Yeah.
The meeting ends. And about 2 weeks later, that exact issue shows up. Delays, confusion, stress. And his manager says something like, I wish we had caught this earlier.
Wow.
And Daniel hears that. And inside he's thinking, I times did times notice it. I almost said something.
Yeah, that can really stay with you.
It does. And after that, he becomes even more quiet. Because now it's not just hesitation, it's regret.
Like now there's pressure attached to it.
Exactly. Now every future moment feels heavier, not lighter. So let's slow this down. Why does this happen? Because honestly, it's not about confidence in the simple way people think.
Yeah, I don't think it's just be more confident.
Right. It's usually a mix of a few deeper things. First, there's time's processing time. If English isn't your first language, you might need an extra second to organize your thoughts.
Yeah. You're translating and thinking at the same time.
Exactly. And in Canadian meetings, conversations can move pretty quickly. Not aggressively, but fluidly. People jump in, overlap a bit, build on each other. So if you pause too long, the space disappears.
So it's not that you don't have something to say. It's that the timing window is small.
That's a great way to put it. Second, there's time's fear of disruption. A lot of newcomers are very respectful. They don't want to interrupt. They don't want to take space.
Yeah. Especially if you come from a culture where interrupting is seen as rude.
Exactly. But here's the tricky part. In Canada, light interruption times is often part of collaboration, not disrespect.
Oh, that's a subtle difference.
Very subtle. And third, this one is big. Times perfection, pressure. You want your sentence to be clear, polished, grammatically correct.
Yeah, that one hits.
And because of that, you wait. You adjust your wording in your head. You soften it. You check it again. And by the time you're ready, the conversation has moved on.
So the goal of being perfect actually makes you silent.
Exactly. So, what can you do in that moment? Not in theory, but times, right there, times when you almost speak.
Yeah, like something practical.
Right. Let's go through a few simple things that can help. Not perfect solutions, just small shifts. First times, buy yourself time with a soft entry. You don't need a full sentence ready. You can start with something like, "Hey, can I add something here?"
Oh, that's simple.
Yeah. Or, "Sorry, just a quick thought." That little phrase holds space for you. It signals that you're about to speak.
So you don't have to be fully ready yet.
Exactly. You're creating a pause times for yourself. Second times, use unfinished language. This one surprises people. You don't need perfect structure. You can say, "I'm not 100% sure, but I think," or "Maybe I'm missing something, but..."
That feels safer.
It is. And in Canadian workplaces, that kind of language actually feels collaborative, not weak.
Right, it invites others in.
Third times, jump in earlier than feels comfortable. Not aggressively, just a bit earlier than your instinct.
Oof, that might feel hard at first.
It does. But you don't need to wait for a full silence. A natural small gap is enough. Even something like, "Can I quickly jump in?"
Yeah, that feels polite, but still active.
Let's do a quick micro practice. Imagine the moment. You have an idea. Instead of waiting, you say, "Hey, can I add something quickly?" Pause. Then continue. "I might be wrong, but I think the timeline depends on X."
Yeah, that flows.
It doesn't need to be perfect, just present. Another one. Instead of silence, thinking, missing the moment, try, "Sorry, just thinking out loud here."
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it removes pressure. You're not presenting a final answer, just contributing. One more. If the moment times has already passed times, you can still come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can say, "Hey, can I circle back to something from earlier?"
That's actually really helpful.
It gives you a second chance, and people respect that. So the goal here isn't to become the most talkative person in the room. It's just to not disappear.
Yeah, to be times present, not perfect.
Exactly. Now let's shift a bit deeper, because this isn't just about speaking, it's about identity.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
When you hold back again and again, you start to build a quiet story in your head. "I'm not someone who speaks in meetings. My ideas aren't that important."
Yeah, that can slowly shape how you see yourself.
And the danger is it becomes a habit, not a choice.
Right. It feels automatic after a while.
So the upgrade here is subtle. Instead of asking, "Is this perfect?" you start asking, "Is this worth sharing?"
Oh, that's a really different question.
Yeah, because most of the time, it is. Let's be honest for a moment. This isn't easy. There will be times when you try to speak and your voice feels a bit shaky, or someone talks over you, or your sentence doesn't come out the way you wanted.
Yeah, that can feel discouraging.
It can, but those moments, they're not failures. They're part of learning how this times environment works.
Yeah, like adjusting, not failing.
Exactly. You're not losing your voice. You're just finding a new way to use it. And here's a small cultural note. In Canadian workplaces, speaking up isn't about being the loudest. It's about contributing to the group.
Yeah, It's more about collaboration than dominance.
Exactly. Even short comments matter. Even partial ideas matter because they help the team think better.
So, silence isn't always seen as respect?
Not always. Sometimes it's seen as disengagement, even if that's not your intention.
That's important to understand.
So maybe here's a gentle question to sit with. What's one moment recently where you almost spoke but didn't?
Yeah, I can think of one already.
And if that moment happened again, what's one small sentence you could use to step in?
Something simple, not perfect.
Exactly. Because your voice doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to be heard. Thanks for spending this time with us.
Yeah, and if this felt familiar, you're really not alone.
Not at all. These are small shifts, but they can change how you show up day by day.
And over time, that really adds up.
We'll see you next time. Take care.
Take care.